this is a hockey romance. It follows a figure skate. Are you fucking serious? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over all the books I read in March and then possibly my TBR for April, but I find that I haven't been really sticking to my TBRs, which is fine because I've been buying new books and I want to read the new books that I buy. But anyways, so yeah, I will be going over all the books I read in March. It's not that many books. It was a really slow reading month for me. It was kind of hard for me to get into the books I was reading. It took me a minute, but yeah. So this is the first book I read in March. I read it on March 1st. Didn't finish it till March 7th. It's like a pretty thick book, but we all know how I feel about this series. It's honestly not very good in my opinion. So this book followed the brother of the sister in the first book. So again, this follows like a group of friends and their romances within their friend group. And this followed, again, I believe her name was Ava. The girl in the first book fell in love with her brother's best friend, and in this book it's the sister from the first book, her brother, falling in love with her best friend. It's kind of like a flip-flop situation. I wouldn't say this is enemies to lovers, but like it says on the cover, he hates her almost as much as he wants. Again, I don't know, I didn't really, this is the third book of the series. The second one, I remember telling you guys I thought the second one was decent. I think I gave it 3 stars. This one I did not really enjoy. My overall rating for this was 2 stars. I don't know, it was just kind of cringy and a lot of back and forth, and it didn't feel like there wasn't much substance to it, in my opinion. I can't even remember a lot of it. I don't know, I just find this author's writing kind of cringy. I'm not a huge fan. So I believe the 4th book, there's one more book in this series, and I think it was on my TBR for this month. I wanted to finish the whole series, but I did not end up reading the 4th book yet, so I just need a break from this series. I'm not enjoying it at all, and I think maybe if I take a little break, I'll enjoy the last book, hopefully. But yeah, I did not enjoy this, really. I gave it 2 stars. I don't think it's worth it. The series. I don't think it's worth reading the series because so far I've only enjoyed the 2nd book and I didn't even love it. It was just fine. Next book I read is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This was not on my TBR for March, but I picked it up Barnes & Noble this month and I wanted to read it right away because I've just heard a lot of good things about this. So this follows a figure skater and a hockey player and their romance with each other. They go to the same college, and basically the situation happens where the hockey team and the figure skaters, I can't remember exactly what happens, but they have to share the ice rink together, so they get more acquainted with each other because the hockey players are seeing the figure skaters more often. So yeah, her name's Anastasia. She kind of becomes friends with some of the hockey players, and then she comes across Nate. Nate is the captain of the hockey team. I honestly really enjoyed this. It was super entertaining and I loved the chemistry between the characters. And then also I enjoyed the subplot of them both being involved in sports. So I give this 3.5 stars. I thought it was pretty decent. A little better than decent, I would say. It was good. Yeah, so I would recommend this. It was a fun romance. I read it super quick. I finished it in 4 days, I guess. Pretty quick for me. I usually finish, if I really like it, if I'm enjoying a book, I usually finish it within 3 days. Yeah, I finished this in 4 days. I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought it was really good. If you are looking for a cute, fun romance, I would highly recommend this. So this is the next book I read. I started this on March 11th. I finished it on the 14th. So I read this pretty quickly. It's kind of small. This is like a fiction. This is just straight fiction, coming of age. It's called Mary Jane, and it's basically takes place in the 70s in Baltimore, and it's about a 14-year-old girl named Mary Jane, and she basically gets this babysitting gig for the summer, and the family that she's babysitting for is kind of crazy. I would say Mary Jane lives in a really conservative household. Yeah, it's just like about her spending time with this family, and the father of the family is a therapist, and he basically has a patient that's staying with him for the summer that is a musician, like a famous musician, and then his girlfriend is also staying with them, and I believe she's an actor. So it's just about Mary Jane being around this family. It was fun. It's coming of age, and I rated this 3 stars. I thought it was pretty good. Mary Jane being introduced to different lifestyles and kind of discovering who she is and what she wants to be outside of her family that she lives with. This was fun. I would recommend it if you like fiction. Then we took a turn for the worst. Not the worst, but like this next book I read was very, very sad. A very different vibe. Ew. I feel like I keep saying the word vibe because I'm watching the new Love Island season for the UK, and they say the word vibe a lot, so I've been saying it a lot now, and it's not cute. So this is the next book I read in March. I started this on the 14th, finished it on the 16th. As you can see, I really enjoyed it. I read it super fast. This is a memoir. If you know the artist Japanese Breakfast, this is her name, Michelle. This is her memoir, and I've read a couple memoirs before and I've enjoyed them, and this one I also enjoyed a lot. I gave this 5 stars, so this is a 5-star rating, baby. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. So this book is about Michelle, and it follows her in her mid-20s, and she's kind of struggling in her career path. She wants to be a musician, but she finds out that her mother is ill and she's diagnosed with cancer. Mainly follows her relationship with her mother and her father, and then her significant other. There's also parts of him in this book, but yeah, it's basically about her dealing with the grief of her mother passing away and how she goes on with her life after that. But a good chunk of this book is them finding out she has cancer and them dealing with that. It was extremely, extremely sad, but I thought it was so well written, and I really felt connected to her, and I felt for what she was going through and what her whole family went through. I did speak about this in my last video, which was a tag, book recommendations tag, and the question for this one was a book that's made me cry. So this book did make me cry. If you enjoy memoirs and if you enjoy her music, Japanese Breakfast, I would highly recommend reading this because you get an inside look to her life, her struggles, and she speaks about her career and how her music career kind of takes off after her mother passes away. If you're a fan of Japanese Breakfast, or if you're not, I would highly recommend this. It was a really good book, and it is a memoir, so it's a true story. But yeah, I give this 5 stars. It made me cry. It was written so well. Highly recommend. I only have 2 more books. Can we take a moment for the amazing author that Taylor Jenkins Reid is? This was on my TBR for this month, and I did read it. This is fiction, and it's called Carrie Soto is Back, and it follows a tennis player. She's basically the biggest tennis player of her time. In the 90s, I believe, Carrie becomes the biggest tennis player of her time, and then she ends up retiring because of an injury, but then she comes out of retirement. So this mainly is about her coming out of retirement and trying to win back her spot as the biggest tennis player in the world. So Carrie decides to come out of retirement at age 37, which is really unheard of, and a lot of people don't think she's gonna come back as strong as she was, obviously, because a lot of time has gone by. Yeah, it's about her coming out of retirement, and her dad actually coaches her when she comes out of retirement. And he did coach her for a bit at the beginning of her career, but some drama happened and he no longer was her coach. She wants to come out of retirement, but she says the only way she'll do it is if her dad coaches her again. A lot of this is about her relationship with her dad as a father and also as a coach. And then there is like a little subplot of romance in this book, which I really, really enjoyed. It's very teeny, but yeah, I really enjoyed this book. It took me a minute to get into it. I started this on the 17th and then I didn't finish it till the 23rd. I would say once I got like 150 pages in, I was finally hooked and I couldn't put it down. I think the tennis aspect was why it was hard for me to get into it. I don't know a lot about tennis and it kind of felt boring a little bit. Once you were able to get more development with Carrie and the other characters like her father, I got into it and I thought it was really, really good. I liked it more than I thought I was going to, because at first, like I said, I was like, I don't really like this. It's taking me a minute to get into, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. I don't think I've given any of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books under like 3 stars. I'm not surprised I like this. I really enjoy her writing. And she's just so well at making you love the characters she writes about. If you don't like tennis, don't be discouraged by this book. If you like fiction, I'd highly recommend this. Like I said, it does have a subplot of romance, so I think that's why I enjoyed it a little more than the average fiction book. But yeah, I would highly recommend this. The final book I read in March. This was on my TBR, so go me for reading a handful of books that were on my TBR. This is a book called Lotus by Jennifer Hartman, and this is a romance book. There was a lot of dark undertones to this book, and it wasn't really like, I wouldn't say it was kind of like a subplot of a mystery. So this book follows 2 childhood best friends, and it follows Oliver and Sydney. They are childhood best friends. You find that out like in the very beginning. So they're childhood best friends, but something happens to Oliver. He goes missing at the age of 7, and Sydney and Oliver live next door to each other. They're childhood best friends. Oliver suddenly goes missing, and then it fast forwards in time to Sydney's perspective, and she's in her late 20s or maybe even 30, and suddenly Oliver is found, and I think he's a couple years older than her. He's like 32, so yeah, this is about their love story. He's been gone for, I think it was 25 years, 25 years he's been missing, and he's back. A lot of it is about what happened to him and his story and the trauma he went through, their love story, and Oliver does have a brother. Sydney and him still live next door to each other, so Sydney continued to have a relationship with Oliver's brother while Oliver was missing all these years. So you do get a bit of a relationship with him. Oh, there were a lot of like plot twists in this book, so I thought that like the plot twists that happened were pretty interesting, and then also kind of like the mystery aspect of like what happened to Oliver and why has he been gone all these years. That really made the plot interesting. So it was not really just like the romance that you were focusing on. There were all these little subplots that added to the storyline, which I did like. I gave this book 3 stars. I thought it was pretty decent. I enjoyed it because of all the little subplots that were going on and like the layers of each character, specifically Oliver, and there's a situation with Sydney's sister. So yeah, I thought this was really well developed. Like the characters were really well developed, and so was the storyline. This is the first book I've ever read by her, but yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I have 2 other books by her. We'll see if I like those, but I think this is her most popular book. So those are all the books I read this month. That was only 6 books. That's not a lot at all. I started this book called Ghosts by Dolly Alderton, and I started that on the 29th of March, and I only have like 30 pages of it, so I'm gonna finish that today. It's April 2nd today. That book will be in my next wrap-up video for April. I guess now I'm going to show you some of the books I hope to read in April. Like I said, this is the book I'm currently reading. I'm literally gonna finish it probably within the next hour. So I guess we'll include that in my TBR since I am reading it right now. So this was in my TBR for March, but I did not get around to it. I spoke about it in my last wrap up. So yeah, it's fiction. All as 2 college students, I believe. So yeah, I hope to read this month since I didn't read it in March. This is the last book in the Twisted series. I was just talking mad shit about this series, but I want to finish the series. I can't not finish it. I'm gonna force myself to finish it. I hope I like this at least a little bit. It's the last book in the Twisted series. We have The Idiot. This is fiction. I believe it has like a subplot of romance. It takes place in the 90s, and it's about these 2 Harvard students, and email is new to them. And yeah, I followed these 2 Harvard students and their romance. I don't know. I thought the cover was interesting. I looked it up on Goodreads, and it has a good rating, so hopefully it's good. Next, I hope to read High Fidelity. This is based on a movie. There's also like a new Hulu series, like a spin-off Hulu series that came out recently, I guess. I haven't watched that, but yeah, I enjoyed High Fidelity, the movie, so I thought, why not read the book? This is the last thing on my TBR. This is fucking massive. If you know me, you probably know that I love Theo James. He's in this movie series. This is the Divergent series. You guys are probably like, why are you reading that? Why do you want to read that? I recently re-watched all these movies, and I was like, I've never read the book, so why don't I pick up the books? I definitely am not going to read all of these in April, but I want to at least start it. We'll see how that goes. Look at it. Look at it in all its glory. What if it's not even good? I enjoy the series, and I enjoy Theo James. Yeah, obviously this is fiction. Is this fantasy? Is that what you would call it? I don't know. This seems fun. It's gonna be a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I think I'm gonna like it. So I hope to read the first book in April. We'll see if that happens. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your favorite read from March. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all so much.